Fields Channel 2.
40 years ago this morning, the atomic bomb was dropped here on Hiroshima. They thought the sun had come to Earth. Today, from all over the world, people have come here to remember.
From ABC, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings. Tonight reporting from Hiroshima.
Good evening. Well, good morning, really, because it is just after 7:30 in the morning on Tuesday here in Hiroshima. Or put it another way, 40 years ago, at this exact moment, an American B-29 bomber called the Enola Gay, carrying the first atomic bomb, was winging its way towards this city from over the Pacific. We are here to mark what followed, what the Japanese call Ikijigoku, their living hell. We'll have a series of reports from here in Hiroshima this morning, but we're going to begin at the White House, where President Reagan told reporters earlier today that the growth removed from his nose last week was cancerous. Here's Sam Donaldson.
White House stonewalling over the president's nose was ended today by Mr. Reagan himself in an Oval Office interview with 6 reporters. It had been just a little pimple, said the president, there, which he'd picked at. A White House statement last Thursday had said only that it had been checked for infection. But the president disclosed there had also been a biopsy, and it had revealed a form of skin cancer.
I was informed that it had been examined, and it was indeed a basal cell carcinoma, which is the most common and the least dangerous kind. They come from exposure to the sun. Nancy had one removed above her upper lip some time ago.
The president said doctors have ordered him to stay out of the sun, but no other treatment is necessary. On another subject, the atomic bomb, Mr. Reagan called second-guessing of President Truman's decision to use it ridiculous. As for the atomic bomb today, the president said the Soviets' offer of a temporary moratorium on testing until December is unacceptable. But once current U.S. atomic tests have been completed, perhaps something can be worked out.
If they want to make that a permanent moratorium, or if they want to agree with us and have bilateral inspection of each other's testing, we're willing to do that.
At the end of the year?
Once when, well, I don't know whether we'll be able to complete ours by that time or not. When we've completed ours, and they're not doing any more, yes, that'd be fine.
That sounded new, but White House officials later said Mr. Reagan had not meant to offer a new initiative, and there was in fact no change in U.S. policy. The news here today is that the president had developed a small patch of skin cancer, and the way White House officials handled the incident shows how sensitive they are to the health issue now. They are concerned about the political fallout, as seen by the Russians and others. Sam Donaldson, ABC News, the White House.
This is Dr. Timothy Johnson. Basal cell skin cancer is one of 2 very common forms of skin cancer that occur in over 400,000 Americans every year. The other common skin cancer is called a squamous cell cancer. Both are clearly related to sun exposure and probably take decades to develop into actual cancer. The good news is that these types of skin cancer, unlike the far more dangerous melanoma skin cancer, are very curable with one of several simple methods of removal. Indeed, when caught early, as President Reagan's undoubtedly was, they should be 100% curable. And in the case of President Reagan, it is once again worth pointing out that this very common skin cancer bears no relationship to colon cancer or any other cancers. It is simply a price many Americans pay for too many years in the sun. I'm Dr. Timothy Johnson, ABC News, New York.
When we come back here to Hiroshima, what it was like on the day the bomb fell. And later in the broadcast, Japan's impact on the American economy. We'll also have a report on what may be the last day of baseball for a while.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Brim Decaffeinated Coffee.
My maiden voice.
You did great. Let's get that coffee.
Only half a cup.
Well, you love a hearty coffee.
But the caffeine.
Look,
Brim decaffeinated coffee.
dark roast from Brim. This Brim's got a deep flavor that really speaks to you.
Speaks to me. If it tastes this rich, fill it to the rim.
Fill your cup to the rim with a hearty taste of dark roast from Brim, also in regular roast.
It takes 1 minute a day, 30 seconds in the morning, 30 seconds at night, to get rid of up to 50% more plaque than if you just brush. It's rinsing with Listerine Antiseptic. Clinical tests prove rinsing with Listerine in addition to regular brushing reduces plaque by up to 50% over brushing alone for better oral hygiene. So use Listerine. It kills the germs that cause bad breath and kills the germs that cause plaque. It's worth a minute of your time.
48 hours before the attack on Hiroshima, hundreds of thousands of leaflets had been dropped on this city warning of obliteration. But not many people paid attention. Some Japanese who believed the war was already lost actually believed a rumor that President Truman's mother had once lived nearby, and because this was a pretty city, that the U.S. forces would use Hiroshima as an occupation center. There had been an air raid warning in the middle of the night, but just about this time, the siren had sounded the all clear. Here's our chief correspondent, Richard Threlkeld.
Every morning at exactly 8:15, the chimes dance across the city. The moment the bomb exploded without warning, 2,000 feet above the headquarters of the Japanese Second Army, right downtown. This is what the Americans who dropped the bomb saw, the mushroom cloud, the signature of the atomic age. Those in the midst of it had a different view. The survivors painted pictures of their memory. The only thing they couldn't paint were the screams. A fireball hot enough to melt iron twice over. A whirlwind of force that leveled everything for 3 miles around. A black radioactive rain. Then fire that burned for 2 days.
Whole city burning, smoking, dark, gray smoke. Whole the city was still burning when I saw.
Keiko Ogura was 8 years old.
My elder brother came back. And the mother, as soon as she saw him, oh, you were so lucky being away from the house. And he said, Mom, why don't you look at the city? The whole city is completely destroyed, he shouted.
A city of the dead and the dying. 118,000 civilians were killed outright. Tens of thousands more died later from the bomb's effects.
I had no idea of the atom bomb. I just saw the flash of light.
The Reverend Kiyoshi Tanemoto was the Methodist minister. This was all that remained of his church. He spent 5 days and nights on the banks of the Kiyo River doing all he could to help the dying, giving them water.
Whole face and the body swollen, and they couldn't open the eye or mouth. So thirsty, so I passed a cup of water. They lay their upper body up and accept a cup of water. And he returned the cup so nicely. Gentleman like, thank you.
The bomb destroyed 68% of Hiroshima, as these recently discovered pictures by U.S. military camera teams make clear. For months after, Hiroshima resembled the ruins of some forgotten civilization. There was no electricity, no safe water, and a radioactive pall hung over everything. People slept in the rubble and lived off relief supplies or whatever they could scavenge. A city of mourners searching for the ashes or some remnant of their loved ones to enshrine with their ancestors. It took a very long time to put Hiroshima back together again, but they did. It has a much happier skyline today. A big, prosperous, high-tech city of more than 1 million people has risen from the ashes, complete with gleaming new buildings and the usual traffic jams. You can see the change. The scars that remain are human scars. The bomb burned the bodies of those that survived, and it seared their souls. There's a hospital here that treats only the hibakusha, the Japanese call them, the bomb-affected persons. 114,000 of them still live in Hiroshima. Their bodies are ravished by radiation, making them easy prey for every illness. Mr. Kawata, a retired accountant and an Army private the day of the bomb, has been in and out of this hospital for years. I never had time to be angry or bitter, he says. All I can do is pray for the dead. I don't want what happened forgotten. A lot of the survivors say that now as they grow older and remember, like Mrs. Ogura.
Before I die, I need to speak. I feel these days I am a very precious person because I can say I'm the witness. I know the disaster.
She's right. When she and the other witnesses are gone, there will be no living memory of that day. Only the pictures and the paintings and the pleasant chimes that dance across Hiroshima every morning at exactly 8:15. Richard Threlkeld, ABC News, Hiroshima.
The emphasis here on every anniversary is spreading the word that nuclear war again is unthinkable. That structure over there, which they now call the Atomic Dome, was once an industrial exhibition center. It is today the only structure left standing. There is a real power in this park, and no one can come here without thinking of the consequences of nuclear war. For one thing, there is what they call a peace museum. All eyes are drawn to a red ball above a model of the city. That's where the bomb exploded, leaving this. This is a required pilgrimage for millions of Japanese, especially the children. So little left, so much for a new generation to ponder. The Japanese do not shrink from their history. Japan started the war. Hiroshima was the ultimate price. The children hear from a woman who lived through it, bereft that she couldn't help her neighbors then, still apologizing to a wider world. There are actually some Japanese who have taken all of these 40 years to admit that they were here on the day the bomb was dropped. Mothers, for example, who were carrying unborn children kept the secret, lest their children be affected by radiation and their chances for marriage later in life spoiled. The people who do come today never forget. Here is Jim Laurie, our chief correspondent in Asia.
The eerie music of ancient bamboo flutes. Shinto priests lead a candlelight procession through Peace Park. Buddhist monks offer the prayers for the dead never identified after the atomic bombing. The anniversary drew not only monks, some of whom walked 500 miles to get here, but thousands of people from all over the world. From San Francisco, a group of 22 children. They lit a giant candle and sang of peace.
We shall live in peace.
The children had toured the Hiroshima Museum, and like most, were affected by what they saw.
I had an idea of how nuclear weapons can hurt people and destroy things, but now I know what an A-bomb can do.
I felt really sad. It's scary. When I saw those pictures yesterday, it made me feel like I wanted to cry.
100 mayors from all over the world toured the museum too, 9 from American communities, all who came totally committed to the anti-nuclear movement. Some old ban the bomb veterans rekindling old anger.
I saw the signatures of the people in the comments, peace, never again. I wrote, damn the bastards that dropped it.
The anniversary attracts ordinary people, but also those at the extremes of politics. The socialists and communists here try to use the event to further their ends. The far right in Japan comes to condemn the left. And still others have their reasons for coming.
To just make people more aware, if that is possible, of the horrors of it. And the fact that we must never, ever let it happen again.
And if Jack Lemmon could not guarantee that, he could at this city's A-bomb hospital at least bring a smile to the face of one who suffered the atomic blast. The A-bomb survivors have had few such moments. Most of them have constant worries about when the effects of the A-bomb will finally catch up to them. At this ceremony today, which will begin here in Peace Park in about 15 minutes, 45,000 people who have died in the last year, their names will be dedicated right behind me here at the cenotaph. Peter?
Jim, I mentioned that those of us who visit here feel the impact of Hiroshima tremendously. What is the role that it plays in daily Japanese life?
The Japanese are, of course, devoutly, if you can use that word, anti-nuclear. But these events are, of course, every year, and therefore they take it rather matter-of-factly. Peter?
Jim, thank you very much. Jim Laurie, our Asia correspondent, our chief Asia correspondent. When we come back, America and Japan and the economic competition of today.
Your days go by fast. Your work never seems to end.
That's why Whirlpool refrigerators are designed to make your world a little easier. Our most advanced model has a new monitoring and control system you can program for maximum cooling, and our famous no-fingerprint doors. Whirlpool, quality appliances.
We're making your world a little easier. Whirlpool makes it easier for you.
This is the Hearts Care Center, where we show you all the ways Hearts can help your pet with our 2-in-1 family of flea and tick-killing products. The Hearts 2-in-1 Plus Reflecting Collar for nighttime safety and full-time flea and tick protection. Or the famous Hearts 2-in-1 Long-Lasting Collar. Now it kills fleas and ticks for 5 months. With 2-in-1 flea and tick powder, aerosol and pump sprays, and Rid Flea shampoo, you can choose just what your dog or cat needs to kill fleas and ticks. Hearts Care, everything good for your pet.
Look here, fast relief that takes the burn out of heartburn. Ask for Maalox Plus. Nothing works faster. That's because Maalox, America's #1 antacid for excess acid and heartburn, plus simethicone to relieve painful gas pressure, are now combined in great-tasting Maalox Plus. Tablets and liquid, any way you want it. Maalox Plus takes the burn out of heartburn. Try Maalox Plus. No country in the world has changed as much in the last 40 years as has Japan. Who would have thought then that Hiroshima today would be as modern and as efficient as it really is? Japan's recovery has been the modern miracle. Some information from our fact file. Japan has the world's 3rd largest economy behind the United States and the Soviet Union. Japan is America's 2nd largest trading partner, second only to Canada. Japan alone accounts for 10% of all the world's trade. Japan itself has very few natural resources. Only 1/5 of the land can be used for farming. Japan must import food and much of its energy. Japan is the world's largest producer of radios and television, the largest producer of passenger cars, and the world's largest shipbuilder. In his book called The Japanese Mind, the American writer Robert Christopher recalls what he and his fellow American soldiers thought when they arrived to occupy this country at the end of World War II. What in God's name, they used to say, made the Japanese think that they could take on the United States and win? Well, 40 years later, this is not the devastated country that American soldiers found. Today, the Japanese are successfully taking on the American economy and very often winning. With the first of a series, here's our economics editor, Dan Kortz.
Surrounded by a vast green sea of ripening Illinois corn, Decatur is a small urban island whose economic blend of agriculture and industry make it typical of much of the U.S. It also reflects the mixed impact on this country of our mammoth $150 billion trade deficit with the rest of the world.
What type of shirt would you wear with that?
When Barbara Williams and her daughter Angie go shopping these days, more and more of what they buy is made outside the USA. The Williams family's home contains dozens of items imported from abroad, the vast majority from Japan, which this year will sell us goods worth $48 billion more than the products it buys from us. Dennis and Barbara Williams bought all these Japanese imports because they consider them better and cheaper than competing American versions.
There may be a few American manufacturers that produce high-quality products in those areas, but I can't afford those exorbitant prices. The Japanese prices are within my reach.
But the benefits of foreign trade that the Williams family enjoys are not the whole picture. In fact, in this community, the negative consequences of foreign competition are even more visible. This former General Electric audio equipment plant stands idle, a victim of Japanese imports. And Borg Warner, a big auto supplier, has closed one plant and laid off 1,000 workers at another, as Japanese cars have flooded the U.S. market. Employment at this giant Caterpillar plant is down by 2,100. Even A.E. Staley, the giant corn processor that is Decatur's best-known company, shares some of the trade woes, not all of which are made in Japan. The sweetener Staley makes from corn must compete with sugar, whose price is subsidized by governments around the world. And subsidized competition from Argentina and Brazil has forced Staley to close this soybean milling plant and sell a business it originated in this country.
The soybean industry lost its profitability, and in our judgment that could not return as long as we had these foreign government subsidies.
The foreign challenge is even moving closer to Dennis Williams and the products he helps design for his employer. Copies of the firm's automatic valves, made in Taiwan and South Korea, have begun to turn up on the American market. Scenes of trade-related decline are by no means unique to Decatur, and they pose a challenge to politicians, workers, and management alike. In our next report, we'll look at how one well-known American company transformed itself to avoid the fate that has overtaken so many others. Dan Quartz, ABC News, Decatur, Illinois.
In tonight's Other Money Matters, stocks closed lower on Wall Street. The Dow Jones Industrials were down about 6 points, and the trading was light. When we come back, the threat of a baseball strike. The baseball-crazy Japanese can't understand it.
A day in the life of a Commodore 64. But Commodore 64, once you get it, you'll wonder how you got along without it.
Hope you like sugar, because this box contains not 1, not 2, but 6 added teaspoons. This has 10, and this 18. And spoon-size shredded wheat, none. When you shred the wheat for better toasting, it tastes great naturally. So it goes against our grain to add sugar, or even salt. Nabisco shredded wheat, 0 added sugar or salt, 100% whole wheat.
Listen to the symphony of features only Renault Alliance offers. Only Renault Alliance gives you all this European technology with 550 Plus, America's best small car protection, and 8.5, America's lowest factory financing. Prices start at $59.95. Renault.
These strips of metal are in the same kind of acid that's in your stomach, only we've made it 30 times stronger. Let's see what Rolaids does to it. Or Tums. Now, what about Alka-Seltzer? While Rolaids and Tums are effective, only Alka-Seltzer neutralizes more excess stomach acid and also speeds relief to your headache. So even if you have an iron stomach, send Alka-Seltzer to the rescue and feel it making you feel better fast.
If you mention Hiroshima to a lot of modern Japanese, they might actually first mention the Hiroshima Carp. The city's baseball team won the Japanese series last year and is in first place again this year. There was certainly no talk of a strike, and the Japanese would not be happy to go without their baseball. Well, Americans may have to. And here's ABC's Stone Phillips.
At Chicago's Wrigley Field this afternoon, the New York Mets were playing for first place. They and the Cubs may also have been playing for the last time this season.
I mean, we fought all year to be where we're at. It's exciting. You like being a part of this. This is what you've always wanted to do, and to walk away from it would be a little disheartening.
I don't think there's anybody that doesn't want to play baseball. But, you know, it just doesn't seem like it's working out that way right now.
The fans who've witnessed 2 strikes in 5 years were hot, and it wasn't baseball fever.
I think the players are wrong, definitely in the wrong. They've never had it any better than they have now.
I'm pretty disgusted with the whole thing, really.
Summer without baseball is not summer at all.
In New York City, negotiators for both sides met this morning, but the stalemate continues.
The clubs feel that we have to start making some kind of change in the system, or baseball is going to go down the drain, so to speak.
It appears that this is going to turn out to be a rerun of 1981.
At Wrigley Field today, there wasn't much sympathy for either side.
Stupidity of owners, greed of players, we've had that forever. But the game keeps going on and on and on.
At least until midnight tonight. Stone Phillips, ABC News, New York.
In other news at home today, we learned that an air traffic controller in Dallas had tried to warn the pilot of the Delta jet which crashed on Friday. As ABC's Chris Bury reports, it came at the very last second.
Investigators piecing together the puzzle here now say Flight 191 had already hit the ground when air traffic control ordered the pilot to abort the landing. They found the jet's tire tracks 1,800 feet away from the road where Flight 191 hit two cars before crashing and burning in the thunderstorm Friday night.
That suggests that the airplane either bounced or skimmed and then became airborne.
Earlier, an air traffic controller told Delta 191 to reduce speed because it was overtaking a small Learjet landing on the same runway. That slowdown may help explain the crash, if, as investigators suspect, the Delta jet was also being hit by a violent downward shift of wind known as a wind shear.
Normally, if you're going to encounter wind shear, or if you recognize an encounter with wind shear, you want to keep your airspeed up.
But the flight crew, all killed, was never warned of wind shear. The detectors at Dallas-Fort Worth Airport did not send out a warning until after the crash. Chris Bury, ABC News, Dallas.
I will have a final note in just a minute.
Thanks to the K, you can't pinch an inch. Thanks to the K, you can't pinch an inch on me.
With the help of the 220-calorie Kellogg's Special K breakfast and those big, crispy, low-sugar, high-protein flakes, I can't think of a tastier or better way to start my day.
Thanks to the K, you can't pinch an inch on me.
Thanks a lot, Citibank. You had to make your Visa and MasterCard better than other banks. Just by using them, we earn bonuses called Citi Dollars. Now, they could have saved us up to 40% on a color TV or a stereo. But we used ours to get something strictly for Vincent's amusement.
Oh, isn't it wonderful?
Visa and MasterCard from Citibank. It's the bank that makes them better.
Want a good reason why my antacid is Tums? I'll give you 3. 1, Tums is effective. It neutralizes 1/3 more stomach acid than the other leading brand. And that's what I take an antacid for. 2, sodium. I don't want any. And Tums is sodium-free. 3, Tums is rich in calcium. And to me, an extra source of calcium is extra good news.
Tonight, a special Nightline simulates what could have happened if America had not dropped the bomb on Japan.
The Japanese are throwing everything they've got at our guys.
Nightline with Ted Koppel tonight.
A great many people have made our visit here to Hiroshima possible. We particularly want to thank the people at the Japan's National Broadcasting Company, NHK, and of course all the others. Just one final note from here in Hiroshima. Those people who died here at Hiroshima and later at Nagasaki were killed by the atomic bomb, but they actually died because of an evil Japanese ideology. There was no crime that the Japanese had not committed in their effort to conquer the rest of the world. Well, today's Japanese are uncompromising in their commitment to peace, and they are forever coming up to Americans and thanking them for setting them on the road to democracy. Hiroshima was a terrible lesson, but the Japanese appear to have learned it well. That is our report on World News tonight. I'm Peter Jennings in Hiroshima. Good night.
Tomorrow, Sybil Shepherd and Bruce Willis star in Moonlighting on ABC.